Welcome to the series of lecture on finite element analysis. In this part, we are going to derive the element characteristic equation of truss problem using one-dimensional line element. Before going to the finite element part, we will see what is a truss and what are the various types of trusses and all. Truss is a structural member constructed by number of bars and L angles. Number of bars and L angles are connected to joints. The joints are bolts or rivets. Truss elements are nothing but bars and the L angles. So this can transmit only the forces and cannot move individually or relative to each other. This is one assumption made here. So the truss member will not have any relative motion between them. The truss is mainly employed to sustain the load of the building roof or railway bridges. The various types of trusses are shown in this picture. We are not going to discuss about the type of the structure and how the truss constructed, all these things. We are going to see the stress analysis of the truss. So these are the some applications. Railway bridges are made by the trusses. The Eiffel Tower is the best example for truss. Factories, shop floor will be having the asbestos sheet as the roof. So for that they will use the truss as the support member and the electric tower. Here in the auditorium we will have this type of space trusses. This is called a three-dimensional stress. And this railway bridge stress can be considered as a two-dimensional stress that we will see in the next slide. There are two types of truss. One is plain truss or two-dimensional truss. So in which we are going to consider only the one part of truss. Here the joint may be a bolted joint or riveted joint as we have seen. At this joint we are going to assume displacement as a 2 degrees of freedom. At each joint we are going to assume u and v, where u, v are the displacement along x and y direction. The global coordinate system going to be employed here. And in case of space trusses, so we are going to do the analysis in three dimensional. So in that case we have to assume all the three displacement u, v, w, that is u displacement along x axis, v displacement along y axis, w displacement along the z axis, like that. We are going to consider only the two-dimensional plane truss for our analysis. In this part we are going to see how to solve a truss problem using the one-dimensional line element. Already in the previous part we have discussed how to derive the element characteristic equation for bar problem using one-dimensional element. Here in this derivation, what is the major assumption made here is, if you want to use the one-dimensional line element, cross section of the structural member should be uniform. Then only we can use this line element. If you want to use this line element, one more condition to be satisfied, that the force, external force acting on this bar should be along the axis of the bar, and also the deflection due to this external force will also along this axial direction. We are assuming both forces as well as the deflection acting along the common axis. Then only we can apply the line element to solve this type of structural problem. In this case, by assuming that the force as well as the deflection both are changing along only one direction, then we are employing this line element. Based on this we have derived the element characteristic equation. In this equation the general form we know, K is stiffness matrix, U displacement vector, F is force vector. So K for bar element we have AE by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, U1 U2 is the displacement vector. Then this force part we have self weight as well as external load. We are going to use the same line element to solve the truss problem. If you want to employ this line element for solving the truss problem, we have to make some important assumption, then only we can use this line element to solve the truss problem. So we will discuss what are the assumptions made and everything. So these are the assumptions made to apply the line element to solve the truss problem. Why these assumptions are important? Because in case of truss, the members of the trusses are at a different orientation. It is not like a stepped bar or a tapered bar, right? In that case different section will be in this same line. So we used the line element easily, but here in case of truss we have different members at a different orientation. So if you want to apply the bar element to solve this problem, we have to use these assumptions, then only we can apply the line element to solve the truss problem. So what are those assumptions? We will see. Truss element can resist only axial forces. It may be a compressive or tensile, depends upon the nature of the load, and it can deform only in the axial direction. This is important assumption. That means the truss member or truss element will subject to only axial force, and also it will undergo only axial deflection. This is important assumption. So based on this assumption, we can use this line element to solve this truss problem. And some more points also added as assumption. The truss member will not able to carry transverse load, right? Because transverse load and bending moment, if any transverse load or bending moment is acting on the structure, then the structure is going to be considered as a beam. That we will discuss in the later part. So it will not carry any transverse load and the bending moment, and also all loads and reactions are applied only at the joints. So this point also important, because in case of finite element model, we apply all the load, external load, at node points only. So by assuming the loads are acting at only joints, the joints present in the truss can be considered as a nodal points in case of finite element model. So these three assumptions are very important to use this line element to solve the truss problem. First assumption, the force as well as deflection both are happening only along the axial direction, and a truss member will not carry any transverse load or bending moment. Third point is the loads will be applied only at the joints. Based on these assumptions, we can apply the line element to solve the truss problem. Let us see how to use this line element to solve a truss problem. In case of a plain truss, it is a two-dimensional truss. So here I am showing one simple truss structure. Trusses are supported at two ends. These two ends are considered as a hinged support, because no bending moment will be acting. So that is why it is shown as a hinged support. Here member are marked 1, 2, 3, right? So these are called a truss element, going to be called truss element. So each element has different orientation. One horizontal member, 2 is inclined member, again 3 another inclination, 4 is again horizontal member, like this. There are many elements available in this simple truss. So if you want to do the analysis, say for example structural analysis, then for each element we have to derive a element characteristic equation. Then to do the structural analysis, we will assemble all these element characteristic equation to get the global characteristic equation. So in that case, we cannot assemble the element characteristic equation which are derived by using the local coordinate system. So the element characteristic equation what we derived here is, for bar problem AE by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, we are saying that this element characteristic equation is derived based on the local coordinate system, where the coordinates are 0 and L. In this case, when we want to use the same element characteristic equation, this is not possible here, because the elements of trusses are having different orientation. We cannot assemble it as we did in case of stepped bar problem or tapered bar problem. It is not at all possible. Say for example, for the second element, the axial direction will be like this. Then third element, the axial direction will be in this way. First element axial direction is this one. So we cannot assemble easily, right, when we use the local displacement or local coordinates. Is to achieve the common element characteristic equation or common stiffness matrix, we are going to use global coordinate system in case of truss problem. So we are not going to use the local coordinate system 0 L. So we are going to denote all the nodes present in the truss by using global coordinates x and y. Then we will have the displacement along this x and y direction. Displacement along x direction is u, displacement along y direction is v. So by using that degrees of freedom, we are going to frame the element characteristic equation. So this is the important change we are going to make to use this line element to solve the truss problem. So in that case, how to derive the element characteristic equation for a truss using global coordinate system, we will see in this part. So this is the plane truss, simple plane truss is shown here. So here each element is named inside a circle, right? That is the element number, and each element has different orientation, and here W1, W2, W3 are the load acting at the joints. If you want to do the analysis of this truss, right? So first we have to derive the element characteristic for each element. So when we use the global coordinate system for solving this problem, we can easily assemble all these element characteristic equation. We will see what will be the change when we use the global coordinate to solve the problem. First, for better understanding purpose, we are going to consider only one truss element for the further discussion. So let us take this truss element 2, which is inclined at an angle theta. That element 2 alone shown here. The angle of this element is theta, and here node 1 and this one is node 2. For easy understanding purpose, we are taking this as node 1 and this node 2, and at node 1 the q1 we are using here for local displacement, and f1 is the axial force acting along this node 1. Similarly, node 2 we have q2 as the axial displacement and f2 is the axial force. This q2 f2 are in the local coordinate system. Now we are going to resolve this local coordinate system, both the displacement as well as the forces, in terms of global coordinate system. So how to resolve it? Here let us say this length of the element is L, and at node 1 we are going to resolve this q1 displacement in along x direction u1, along y direction v1. Similarly, q2 displacement is resolved u2 and v2, and here f1 force f1 will be resolved along x axis f1x, along y axis f1y. Similarly, at node 2 we have force components along x axis f2x, along y axis f2y. Now first we are going to make the relationship between the local displacement q and the global displacement uv. Let us see that simple derivation. Again the same truss element shown here. So here q is the local displacement in axial direction, u and v are global displacement in x and y direction. And to proceed further, we have to define these two sine and cosine term. So sine theta, based on the construction, we can say sine theta is equal to opposite side divided by hypotenuse. So opposite side is y2 minus y1, the difference between the y coordinate, divided by L2, that is length of the element. And cos theta is adjacent side divided by hypotenuse. Adjacent side is nothing but difference in x coordinate, x2 minus x1 divided by L2. So this thing you have to remember to solve the truss problem. Sin theta and cosine theta for each element we have to calculate. To make the relationship between local displacement and a global displacement, we are going to make a simple derivation using this vector triangle. Here you see the q1 at node 1, q1 is resolved as u1 and v1, right? That vector triangle is shown in this next slide. This q1 displacement is resolved as component u1 and v1. So q1 along the axial direction, u1 is along the x direction, v1 is along the y direction. So u1 and v1 are components of q1. Now let us say this corner is A and this corner is B and this is C. ABC is the triangle. A perpendicular line is drawn, the perpendicular to the AC, line AC, and passing through the corner B. This point, let us say this point is D. After drawing this perpendicular, this is the point D. Perpendicular to AC from corner B we are drawing. Now this triangle is divided into two right angle triangle. One is ADB, another one is BDC. Based on these two triangles, we are going to get the relationship between Q and UV. So Q1, which is equal to AC, total length, can be divided into AD plus DC like this, where AD for this, from this triangle ADB, we can write AD is equal to U1 cos theta, and DC from this triangle DC is V1 sin theta. That means Q1 is equal to U1 cos theta plus V1 sin theta. So this is the relationship we are framing for local displacement Q1 in terms of global displacement U1 and V1. So U1 cos theta plus V1 sin theta. Similarly, if you take the vector triangle for node 2, right, let us say PQR, and after drawing this perpendicular line, we will get the point S. Then the Q2 is equal to PS plus SR. This PS plus SR will be equal to U2 cos theta plus V2 sin theta. We are going to write these two equations in matrix form. Q1 Q2 is equal to, this is a 2 by 1 matrix. We are writing the global coordinates here as a 4 by 1 matrix. In between matrix we have to form 2 by 4 matrix. So 2 by 4 matrix is formed here. Q1 Q2 is equal to, what is Q1? Q1 is U1 cos theta V1 sin theta. So this is why U1 cos theta sin theta. So no U2 V2 component, so 0 0 is added here. And what is Q2? Q2 is U2 cos theta V2 sin theta. So 0 0 taken here and cos theta. So this 2 by 4 matrix is called a transformation matrix, denoted by L. So L is the transformation matrix. This matrix is used to transform the local displacement into the global displacement. So that is why this matrix is called a transformation matrix, which relates the local displacement Q with the global displacement UV. After knowing the transformation matrix, how to transform local displacement into global displacement, then we will go to the derivation of element characteristic equation. So for that we need first the stiffness matrix for truss problem. So we will see that one. So to find the stiffness matrix, first we are going to start from the expression of strain energy of a linear spring, which we have already studied. If you take any linear spring, we can know that the deflection of the linear spring is proportional to the force acting on the spring. So based on that, an important property is defined as stiffness. So stiffness is nothing but force by deflection. So for this linear spring, how do you measure the strain energy? The strain energy is nothing but the energy stored during the deformation period. So this is measured like this. U, strain energy U is half into K, stiffness of the spring, then x square. X is the displacement of the spring. Actually strain energy is taken as the area under the low deflection curve. So based on that only we are getting this expression 1 by 2 K x square. So here K is stiffness of the spring, X is the displacement. When you write this expression U in matrix form, we can write like this: of x square is splitted into x transpose and x. So we are taking K in between. So x transpose K x. So here for our case the local displacement is Q. So we are replacing x in terms of Q. So half into Q transpose K into Q. Now this is the local displacement, right? Because in the spring displacement is happening axially. So similarly this Q is similar to the x axial displacement. Now we have to replace this Q in terms of global displacement. Then we will get the expression of stiffness for a truss element. This U is half into Q transpose K multiplied by Q, where this K is the stiffness matrix for the bar, right, because axial deflection. So now the Q is nothing but U multiplied by, that is L transpose. So here we are just interchanging the L and U. So U transpose, L transpose, then this K as it is, and for this Q we are writing L into U matrix. Now compare this the 3 matrix, this is of U transpose, and this 3 matrix is written as a stiffness matrix for the truss problem, and this is U. So L transpose K of bar and multiply by L transpose. So this will going to be the stiffness matrix for the truss, right? This is the expression derived based on the strain energy concept. So for truss element, the stiffness matrix will be L transpose K. What is this K? The stiffness matrix of bar element, already we derived, and L we have to multiply 2 times the transformation matrix with this B matrix. Then we know what is L matrix, we know what is K matrix for bar element. So we will see what is the stiffness matrix for the truss element. K is equal to L transpose K and L. So what is L transpose? L transpose, you have to interchange the row and the column of transformation matrix. So cos theta 0, sin theta 0, 0 cos theta, 0 sin theta. So the transpose will become 4 by 2 matrix. This is the stiffness matrix for bar element. AE by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1 we are writing as it is, and this is the L transformation matrix. So it is a 2 by 4 matrix. So cos theta sin theta 0 0 0 0 cos theta sin theta. When you multiply 4 by 2 into this 2 by 2 stiffness matrix, again you will get 4 by 2. This 4 by 2, if we multiply with this 2 by 4, we will get a 4 by 4 matrix. That means the stiffness matrix for truss element will be a 4 by 4 matrix. So if you do this matrix multiplication 2 times, right, we have to first multiply 4 by 2 into 2 by 2, we will get a 4 by 2 matrix. Again multiplying this 4 by 2 with this transformation matrix 2 by 4, we will get 4 by 4. So in the next slide I will show the final 4 by 4 matrix after multiplication of these 3 matrices. The stiffness matrix for the truss element will be equal to AE by L, that coefficient, cos square theta sin theta, here minus cos theta sin theta, here cos theta sin theta, cos square theta, cos theta sin theta, sin square theta. So this is sin square theta. Similarly, we will get minus cos theta sin theta, cos square theta, cos theta sin theta, minus cos theta sin theta, minus sin square theta, cos theta sin theta, sin square theta. So these are the 4 by 4 matrix. Now for easy remembrance, we are going to use C for cos theta, S for sin theta. We can easily write this matrix. C square is nothing but cos square, CS is cos theta sin theta. Similarly, CS S square minus C square minus CS minus CS minus A square, like that. Then for easy remembrance, we can divide this 4 by 4 matrix into 4 2 by 2 matrix like this. Then we can easily understand the first part we have all positive terms, and this part also we have positive terms. Here all are negative terms, and in each quadrant you see this terms will be diagonal, we have C square S square, and minor diagonal we have CS CS, like that. So either it may be positive or negative, the elements are same, C square S square CS CS. So in this way we can easily remember the stiffness matrix of the truss element. What is the stiffness matrix for bar element? It is a 2 by 2 matrix. So you have AE by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, but in case of truss element, your stiffness matrix is a 4 by 4 matrix. You have to remember to solve the truss problem. After knowing the stiffness matrix, we are going to derive the element characteristic equation. So the element characteristic equation will be, general form is this one, K stiffness matrix multiplied by displacement vector, which is equal to force vector. So here K, which is derived now, is a 4 by 4 matrix multiplied by the global displacement. So this is a 4 by 4 matrix. So multiply by the global displacement, this is 4 by 1 matrix. So when you multiply this 4 by 4 with 4 by 1, we will get 4 by 1. So the right hand side we have the force matrix. Forces are resolved along x and y direction. So we will get the component of forces along x and y direction for each node. So this is for node 1, this is for node 2. So this is actually this u1 v1 is nodal parameter for node 1, u2 v2 is nodal parameter for node 2. This is the truss element. At each node we have 2 degree of freedom. Total degree of freedom is 4. That is why we are getting the stiffness matrix size is 4 by 4. That you have to understand. So if you want to solve a truss problem, first we have to know this element characteristic equation. Then directly we can use this element characteristic equation for all the truss element. Then we can easily assemble this equation because all are in the global coordinate system only. We can easily assemble it. So that is the difference between bar problem and the truss problem. In both bar problem and truss problem, we are using the line element only. In case of bar, we are using only 1 degree of freedom for line element. In case of truss, because the truss members are having different orientation, we are using the global coordinate system. So in case of a truss problem, when we use the line element, at each node we will have 2 degree of freedom u and v. Let us see how to evaluate the element stress for a truss problem. So in case of truss, the element stress sigma can be evaluated like this: product of Young's modulus E and strain, element strain epsilon. So E Young's modulus, by definition we will evaluate the strain Q2 minus Q1 by length, where Q2 and Q1 are local displacement. L is element length. Now Q2, Q1 are local displacement. When you replace with the global displacement, you will see how the stress equation will be changed. So now we are taking E and L. So E by L and Q2 minus Q1 is written in matrix form. Coefficient matrix, this is the unknown. So minus 1, 1, Q1, Q2. Now this Q1, Q2 can be replaced in terms of the transformation matrix and the global displacement. So E by L minus 1, 1 and L is nothing but CS 0, 0, 0, 0 CS, and the global displacement matrix is U1, V1, U2, V2. So when you multiply this is a 1 by 2 matrix. Multiply this is a 2 by 4 matrix. When you multiply these two, you will get 1 by 4 matrix. This is 1. You will get minus C, then minus S, then plus C plus S. This displacement matrix as it is. When you want to evaluate the stress of a truss element, directly we can use this equation: E by L minus C minus S C S row matrix and a column matrix U1 V1 U2 V2. Directly can evaluate the stress of a truss element using this equation. In this part, we derived the element characteristic equation for a truss element, and also we derived an expression for stress of a truss element. So in the next part, we will solve an example problem, how to solve a truss problem using the line element. We will see. Thank you for your patient listening.